I'm Brian Stevens.
And I'm Michelle Stevens. We have a 12-year-old daughter named Jordyn Stevens. We found that early on she would have some trouble in school, maybe just with comprehension or some socialization. But I was a public school teacher for 20 years, and so we were always able to kind of step in and kind of give her support, just some extra help here and there. And then COVID hit, and the digital learning, the distance learning did not work for her.
It's really not effective for her. She struggled with that.
Her confidence just took a plummet. She would look away from the camera for a moment and the teacher would have moved on to something else, and she wouldn't be able to keep up, and she would get frustrated, and she was so down on herself. So we were confident that when she got back to in-person school, things would be better again. And she was still struggling and just was having trouble understanding what the teacher wanted her to do.
I think the change to middle school, where they have the bells and changing rooms and multiple teachers and lockers and all this other stuff, was also another stressor for her and anxiety that she deals with. And then on top of that, the school had a lot of problems with bullying and kind of an out of control population. The teachers really, we had numerous conferences with teachers and principals, and they just really didn't seem to care. It was kind of more of like, after we put them under pressure, her grades started going up just because, basically, right? Not because they were doing anything different, but they just didn't want to deal with this anymore. So we were very much a very pro public school education family, given that she had taught in public ed for so long. But after that experience, we just started to look for what is a private option that might be more suitable for her, and we looked for many different options, and Foundations came up, and I think that's where we decided to take a chance with it.
But I mean, before that, even because I worked in public school, we knew early on that she would need some accommodations, so we followed all the right steps, and I knew the system to follow. We got her the 504 accommodations. We met with the teachers in the beginning of the year. We explained the challenges that she dealt with. I offered to volunteer, as much as I could. Anytime something would come up, we would meet. We tried to have constant communication. Most of the principals knew who we were, just because anytime anything needed anything, we tried to make sure that we were front and center, and just tried constantly to make it a team effort so that we were all on the same page. And then, like he said, we hit middle school, and I guess the problem was too is that you always assume that being a teacher, all the teachers would be there for the right reason, and the administrators would be there for the right reason, and that would be for helping the kids. And unfortunately, we ran into a situation where we didn't find that to be true. So even with the accommodations and everything else that we had worked hard to put in place, and the communication that we'd worked on, and the meetings and the meetings and the meetings and the meetings, nothing was helping. And it got to the point where, she just didn't want to go anymore. She was having panic attacks in the morning. She would have panic attacks at night, just thinking about school. We were spending hours on homework, and even though the teachers told her she didn't even need to do the homework anymore, she just wanted to do what was expected of her, because she is a dedicated student. Yeah. She tries her best. She is a hard worker, and she's a talented kid, and she has a lot to offer. And they were just sweeping it under the rug. They would give her a passing grade without trying to take the time to teach her. And it was just killing us.
And then it just builds on and on and on and on. That these foundation pieces are missing, and it's getting worse and worse. Yeah. And they keep saying, "Oh no, it's fine. It's normal. Everything's fine."
Yeah. And we had her formally assessed through the school, but they had denied our requests multiple times. And when they finally did, surprise, surprise, they found that she was perfectly fine, and there were no problems.
At grade level.
At grade level. No problems at all. And even she was just completely confused. She didn't understand why, when she knew she didn't understand, how could they say everything was fine? And it broke our hearts. It was agonizing to watch her go through this. And we had been throwing everything we could at it, and we just knew she couldn't go back. And we had interviewed or talked to a bunch of different schools, and I was doing all this research. But it just, nothing seemed like a good match. Homeschooling is not a good option for her. You know, a lot of even the hybrid models weren't a good match. And then we happened to hear about Fairmont, and we went for a tour. And they said, well, most of our students are a year ahead academically. And we looked at each other and went, well, okay. And so luckily, the gentleman who was giving us a tour said, I think I have a program you need to hear about. And so from there, we got a phone call, the next day, I believe. And what I heard described to me did not seem possible. Like we said too good to be true. Yes, we both said it. Yeah, I said there's no way. I don't want to get my hopes up, because there's no way that something like this exists, because this is what education should be, and this is what I would want for every kid. I go, there's no way. I got off the phone and I called him and I said, you're not going to believe this, but I think we've found a good match. I go, we need to pursue this. And then the more we learned about it,
the better it sounded.
And then
teaching people at their level and skipping over things they are comfortable with and moving on to the stuff they don't get and staying on that, and teaching each kid individually is, again, it seems perfectly logical, but it's not the way the system works today.
It's not. And making sure that they're comfortable and meeting their psychological needs and totally addressing their hierarchy of need before expecting them to, proceed academically. It just makes sense. And, I've said multiple times, if I ever went back to teaching, I would never be able to teach any other way, because it just makes sense. And even if Jordyn doesn't see some of the changes, it's only been a few months. Right. And
we see them, though.
Yes, clearly her confidence has come back up. Her independent skills have come back up. Her belief that she can do something independently has gone back up. We're seeing our kid again, and it's wonderful. She bounces off the bus and will tell me what her, brain builder score was, or,
I was clocks and what she did to
clocks.
Yeah.
I've finally gone up another level on the clocks, and I was only 5 points away from the next level on it. I'm going to get it tomorrow. And to see her understand her goals, to be working so hard towards them, and to be excited about reaching them. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that in years.
And then every Friday having the point system and what she's saving for and what she's working towards on that's also been really beneficial.
It is. And it's just, and we're seeing it even at home with simple things where maybe we need to correct a behavior. It's not an instant dissolve into tears, because her confidence is already so low that she can't handle any redirection. No, her confidence is where it needs to be now. And so our home life is more peaceful. We're not fighting over the homework. The school works with her when, she's not doing the chapter book thing. What else can we do? She can watch a documentary and write something about it. She can find an inspirational quote and journal about it. And these are the things that speak her language. But the fact that the staff just wants to support her, and it's such an alien concept, which it shouldn't be, but it is not what she's had in so long. I think back to her second grade teacher, who's a dear friend. That was probably the last good teacher, second and third grade, because I made sure she looped. And that was the last time that she had a teacher that I could genuinely say had her best interests at heart until now, and it's incredible to have a staff that truly cares about her, communicates with us. wonderfully.
Yes, without being badgered or anything like that. It's
you do not
every day
have
you
to.
get the summary of
Right.
how she did. If she's not feeling well, and she stays home. The next day is not a disaster that she has to try to make up all this work.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it's just it's so much better for all of us.
It is. It's better for the entire family, and yeah, it's just been a blessing. Without any mincing words, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
It really has. It's just and we're so lucky. I know that many parents try their kids at many different schools, and I know there's a lot of specialized schools out there we weren't even aware of. But in meeting with the other parents, I've been made aware of so many other ones. We feel so lucky that we started where we are, because I didn't even know of the other ones. But to be where we are, we just thank our lucky stars.
Yeah. And then the fact that the program can go all the way through high school if you want, and that's again, you don't have to move on to another school if you don't want.
She doesn't have to change, because that's change is so hard, and to build that rapport and to have those connections with the staff and to be able to keep those connections all the way through it's immeasurably valuable, and it just makes us happy as parents to be able to have that available to her,
Yeah.
and to see her happy again.